Good morning, class. Today, we're going to explore the topic of personality types. Each person has a unique personality, and we can describe different personality types using specific words. Let's dive in. Let's start with the word egoist. An egoist is someone who is excessively self-centered and believes that their own interests and needs are more important than others. Can anyone think of a sentence that describes an egoist?
John is such an egoist. He only cares about himself and never helps anyone else.
Excellent example! Now let's see a real-life conversation example featuring an egoist personality type.
Hey, did you hear about the new project at work?
Yes, it sounds exciting. I'm curious to know who will be leading it.
Well, I heard that Mark is going to be in charge.
Oh, really? That's interesting. How do you think he'll handle it?
Knowing Mark, he'll probably take all the credit for himself and not give anyone else a chance to shine.
That's unfortunate. It's important to recognize the contributions of the entire team.
Exactly. But for an egoist like Mark, it's always about personal achievements and recognition.
I hope he realizes that success comes from collaboration and supporting others.
In this conversation, Joey expresses their perception of Mark's egoist personality type, describing how he tends to prioritize personal achievements and recognition over teamwork and collaboration. Sarah acknowledges the importance of recognizing the contributions of the entire team and expresses hope that Mark will understand the value of collaboration. Now, let's move on to the word egotist. An egotist is someone who is excessively self-centered and constantly seeks attention or admiration. Can anyone provide a sentence using the word egotist?
Sarah is such an egotist. She always talks about herself and brags about her accomplishments.
Great job! Now let's see a real-life conversation example focusing an egotist personality type.
Hey, have you heard about the new project at work?
Yes, I have. It's quite challenging, but I think we can handle it.
Speaking of handling things, I must say that I'm the one who always takes charge and leads the team to success.
Well, teamwork is important, and we all contribute our skills and efforts to achieve our goals.
Of course, but let's be honest. It's my exceptional abilities and leadership that make a significant impact on our projects.
While it's great to recognize individual contributions, we should also appreciate the collective effort and collaboration.
Absolutely. It's essential to acknowledge everyone's contributions and create a positive and inclusive work environment.
I suppose you're right. Though, deep down, I know that I'm the one who stands out and makes things happen.
It's good to have confidence in your abilities, but it's also important to value the contributions of others and foster a supportive team dynamic.
This conversation showcases a conversation where an egotist personality type exhibits their self-centeredness and seeks validation for their accomplishments. The other individuals in the conversation respond with humility and emphasize the importance of teamwork and appreciating collective efforts. Now, let's discuss the word altruist. An altruist is someone who is selfless and genuinely concerned about the well-being of others. Can you think of a sentence that describes an altruist?
Lisa is a true altruist. She spends her free time volunteering at the local shelter and helping those in need.
Wonderful example! Now let's see a real-life conversation example featuring an altruist personality type.
Hey, have you heard about the community service project happening this weekend?
No, what's it about?
It's a volunteering event at the local homeless shelter. They need help with serving meals and organizing donations.
That sounds like a great opportunity to make a difference. I'm interested in participating.
Awesome! I'll sign us up. It's important to give back to the community, and I know you're always up for helping others.
Absolutely. I believe in the power of kindness and lending a hand to those in need.
That's why I admire your altruistic nature. You're always thinking about others and finding ways to make a positive impact.
Together, we can make a difference and create a better world. Let's do our part and spread kindness wherever we can.
In this conversation, Eric demonstrates the characteristics of an altruist by showing genuine concern for others and expressing a willingness to volunteer and make a positive impact in the community. Anna acknowledges and appreciates Eric's altruistic nature, highlighting the importance of their selfless actions. Now, let's move on to the words introvert and extrovert. An introvert is someone who tends to be more reserved, enjoys solitude, and gains energy from being alone. On the other hand, an extrovert is someone who is outgoing, enjoys socializing, and gains energy from being around others. Can you think of sentences using these words?
I'm definitely an introvert. I feel drained after social events and need alone time to recharge.
My sister is an extrovert. She's always surrounded by friends and loves attending parties and events.
Excellent examples. Now let's see a real-life conversation example, featuring an introvert and an extrovert.
Hey, I had a relaxing weekend. I spent most of it at home, reading and enjoying my solitude.
That sounds nice. I had a busy weekend filled with social activities. I went to a party on Friday, met up with friends for brunch on Saturday, and attended a concert on Sunday.
Wow, you had quite an eventful weekend. How do you manage to be around people all the time?
Well, being around people energizes me. I thrive in social settings and enjoy the company of others. It's how I recharge.
That's interesting. For me, being alone and having some quiet time helps me recharge. It's where I find my peace and introspection.
I can understand that. We all have different ways of recharging and finding balance. I feel restless if I spend too much time alone.
And I feel overwhelmed if I spend too much time in social situations. It's amazing how we're wired differently.
It really is. But that's what makes our friendship so special. We balance each other out and bring different perspectives to the table.
Absolutely. Our differences make our conversations richer, and we learn so much from each other.
I couldn't agree more. It's great to have a friend like you who understands and respects my need for social interactions, even if it's not your preference.
Likewise, it's comforting to have a friend who understands and respects my need for solitude and quiet moments. It's what makes our friendship strong.
In this conversation, an introvert and an extrovert discuss their different preferences and approaches to socializing and solitude. They express their understanding and appreciation for each other's personality types, recognizing the unique strengths and needs that come with being an introvert or an extrovert. Now, let's discuss the word ambivert. An ambivert is someone who displays characteristics of both introversion and extroversion, depending on the situation. Can anyone provide a sentence using the word ambivert?
Mark is an ambivert. He enjoys spending time with friends but also values his alone time.
Perfect. Now let's see a real-life conversation example, featuring an ambivert personality type.
Hey, how was your weekend?
It was great. On Saturday, I went to a big party with a group of friends.
Oh, I didn't know you enjoyed parties. I always thought you were more of an introvert.
Well, that's partially true. I'm actually an ambivert, so I enjoy both socializing and having my alone time.
That's interesting. So, how was the party? Did you have a good time?
I did. I had a lot of fun meeting new people, dancing, and catching up with old friends. But I have to admit, towards the end of the night, I started feeling a bit drained.
That's the introvert side kicking in. I can understand needing some alone time to recharge.
Exactly. So, on Sunday, I made sure to have a quiet day for myself. I stayed home, read a book, and went for a peaceful walk in the park.
That sounds like the perfect way to recharge. It's great that you can find a balance between socializing and having your alone time.
Yes, being an ambivert allows me to adapt to different situations and enjoy the best of both worlds. It's nice to have the flexibility to engage with others and also have my own space when needed.
I admire that about you. It's important to listen to our own needs and find that balance in our lives.
Definitely. Understanding my ambivert nature has helped me navigate social situations and take care of my well-being. In this conversation, the ambivert personality type is discussed as one person shares their experience attending a party while also highlighting their need for alone time to recharge. The conversation acknowledges the ambivert's ability to find balance and adapt to different social situations. Now, let's move on to the word misanthrope. A misanthrope is someone who dislikes or distrusts humankind and prefers to be alone. Can you think of a sentence describing a misanthrope?
Emily is a misanthrope. She avoids social gatherings and prefers to spend time alone with her books.
Great example. Now let's see real-life conversation example, featuring a misanthrope personality type.
Hey, have you noticed how Eric always keeps to himself and avoids social interactions?
Yeah, he's quite the misanthrope. He seems to have a general dislike for being around people.
I wonder why he feels that way. Is there something specific that makes him avoid socializing?
I've heard him mention how he finds social gatherings exhausting and prefers solitude.
It could be that he values his personal space and finds solace in being alone.
I understand that some people recharge by being alone, but it's interesting how Eric takes it to the extreme.
Yeah, he rarely attends parties or events and prefers to spend his free time pursuing solitary activities.
Perhaps he has had negative experiences with people in the past, which has shaped his perspective.
It's definitely possible. Everyone has their reasons for their preferences and behaviors.
That's true. While it's different from how most people are, we should respect Eric's choice and give him the space he needs.
In this conversation, the misanthrope personality type is discussed, focusing on Eric's avoidance of social interactions and preference for solitude. The conversation explores possible reasons for his behavior and emphasizes the importance of respecting individual choices and preferences. Now, let's discuss the word misogynist. A misogynist is someone who holds strong prejudice or hatred towards women. Can you think of a sentence that describes a misogynist?
Unfortunately, there are still some misogynists in our society who discriminate against women and believe they are inferior.
Important point raised. Now let's see a real-life conversation example, featuring the misogynist personality type.
I heard Mark talking negatively about women again. It's really concerning.
Yeah, he has some deeply rooted misogynistic views. It's unfortunate.
What did he say this time?
He made derogatory comments about women's abilities in the workplace, saying they're not as competent as men.
That's completely unfair and disrespectful. It's disheartening to hear such outdated beliefs. Have you ever confronted him about it?
Yes, I've tried explaining why his views are problematic, but he seems set in his ways.
It's important to challenge those perspectives and promote equality. We need to stand up against misogyny.
Absolutely. By addressing these issues, we can help create a more inclusive and respectful society.
In this conversation, the topic of a person exhibiting misogynistic views, Mark, is discussed among friends. They express concern, discuss his comments, and emphasize the importance of standing up against such beliefs in order to foster equality and respect. Now, let's talk about the word misogamist. A misogynist is someone who dislikes or avoids marriage. Can you think of a sentence describing a misogynist?
Paul is a misogynist. He believes that marriage restricts personal freedom and prefers to remain single.
Well done. Let's see a real-life conversation example featuring the personality type misogamist.
Hey, have you heard about Mark's new relationship?
Yeah, I heard he broke up with his girlfriend. I wonder why.
Well, Mark has always been a misogynist. He doesn't believe in marriage and prefers to stay single.
Really? I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, he thinks that marriage restricts personal freedom and prefers to focus on his own goals and aspirations.
That's right. He's more interested in pursuing his career and personal interests rather than settling down with a partner.
It's interesting how everyone has different views on relationships and marriage.
Absolutely. Some people find fulfillment in long-term commitments, while others, like Mark, prefer to remain independent.
It just goes to show that we all have different preferences and priorities when it comes to relationships.
In this conversation, the personality type Misogamist is discussed in the context of Mark's views on marriage and commitment. The conversation highlights Mark's preference to remain single and prioritize personal freedom over a long-term relationship. Finally, let's discuss the word ascetic. An ascetic is someone who practices self-discipline and abstains from material pleasures for religious or spiritual reasons. Can you provide a sentence using the word ascetic?
The monks live an ascetic lifestyle, focusing on prayer, meditation, and renouncing worldly possessions.
Excellent example. Now let's see a real-life conversation example featuring the ascetic personality type.
Hey, have you seen Mark lately? I heard he's been living a very different lifestyle.
Yeah, Mark has embraced an ascetic lifestyle recently. He's been practicing self-discipline and minimalism.
That's interesting. What made him choose such a path?
He found peace and fulfillment in simplicity. He realized that material possessions weren't bringing him happiness.
So, what does his daily routine look like now?
Well, he wakes up early to meditate and starts his day with yoga. He follows a strict diet, focusing on natural and plant-based foods.
That's quite a change. Does he still engage in social activities?
He has reduced social engagements and prefers spending time in nature, contemplating and reflecting.
It must require a lot of discipline to maintain such a lifestyle.
Absolutely. Mark has become more mindful of his thoughts and actions, and he believes it has brought him inner peace.
It's inspiring to see someone embrace such simplicity and detachment from materialism.
Yes, it's a unique path, but it works for Mark. He feels more connected to himself and the world around him.
This conversation showcases how an individual with an ascetic personality type has chosen to adopt an ascetic lifestyle, focusing on simplicity, self-discipline, and detachment from material possessions. You all did a fantastic job describing different personality types using the given words. Understanding personality types helps us better understand ourselves and others. Keep practicing and observing people's behaviors to further develop your understanding of personality types. Great work, everyone!